Just in time for the 4th of July, Spider-Man decided to get the hell out of the country. Hey everyone, it's me, Aaron.
I'm Michelle.
And this is our post-Geekout reaction for Spider-Man Far From Home. It's weird doing one of these so early in the week, but they want to get that 4th of July money, which feels like they could have opened on Thursday then, or Wednesday, the time that most films that want to get like a Thursday release typically come out. Came out on Tuesday. I've never heard that happening before. Movies always either come out on Wednesday or Friday. I don't know what's up with this. I saw that this is like headed towards a Tuesday box office record. It was like, I don't even know what it's competing against for a Tuesday box office record. So this is technically still part of Phase 3. This is like, Endgame was not the last Phase 3 Marvel movie. This was the last Phase 3 Marvel movie. And I was like, why on earth are you not ending it with Endgame? Why is... But as you watch it, you realize, oh, this really is like the epilogue of Endgame. This is the really big post-credit scene that we didn't get in Endgame. Because it's so weird that Spider-Man, I've said all these characters, they're going to get 3 movies in all the Marvel films, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And this is the second Spider-Man film, and it's like, it's a Spidey film. But it's also very much a R.I.P. Iron Man film. Which makes sense when you look at the grand scheme of the overall, like, hey, how these movies all connect with each other and it's a shared universe. It makes sense. It's just kind of a little bit odd. By the way, this is the non-spoiler part of the review, but I do have to come in here and say there is one thing that we are going to spoil. Mysterio is indeed a bad guy in this.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not too familiar with the Spider-Man villains, but I knew about Mysterio.
Man, I saw people on Twitter who were shocked that Mysterio was a villain. And I just kind of looked at him like, for real? Like,
well, concerning what they did with the Skrulls.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Marvel came in here and they did show, like, hey, we are not afraid to mix and match these characters around. We are not afraid to change some stuff around if we think it creates a better story. And I've always said, when it comes to adapting something into a film, I want you to capture the feeling of the original property. I want you to capture, like, what the point of the original property is. You don't have to get all the stuff correct, but if you are going to make a massive change, it had still better be good. It had better be good enough that I can look at it and go, oh, there's clearly a reason why they would make this massive change. And like the Skrulls in Captain Marvel, I love what they do with the Skrulls in there. They are 100% different than they are in the comics, but there's like a point to them. There's a message that they have with them. Our dog is sneezing down below. Sorry about that, everyone. Sneeze. You got allergies too, Peach.
Oh, no.
So yeah, it actually worked to do that with the Skrulls in that one. And yeah, in all the trailers for this, I'm being very jumbled here because I'm still trying to process some of the things that happen in this movie. We will get to that in the spoiler section. But with all the advertising for this film, Mysterio, they were playing him up like he's the new Iron Man. Like, they showed him being a hero straight up throughout the entire thing. And, man, I knew he was going to be a villain. But the more that this movie went along, not even the movie, but like the advertising and how no one ever like even broke a sweat, like nobody ever flinched. Like, Mysterio, he's going to be a hero in this. Like staring that audience down. There came that moment in which it started to grow on me. It was like, okay, maybe, all right, no, he's going to be a villain. But if he is a hero, I can see it happening.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, as soon as like Mysterio showed up, it's like, oh yeah, he's gonna be the bad guy. But as the movie goes along, it's like, maybe he's not, and there's gonna be another villain that they have to fight.
Same thing with the whole he's from a parallel universe thing.
Yeah.
I remember when that initially popped up in the trailers, everyone went, oh my god, that means Spider-Verse, Miles Morales, oh, he's gonna cross over and all this. Oh, that's gonna
be... Peach is all excited about this.
Peach is excited about this. That's gonna be how they get the Fantastic Four in there. That's gonna be how they get the X-Men in there. They're from an alternate reality. That's gonna happen.
Oh my goodness.
I want to go where the guy who's waving his hands is going. But I looked at that and went, for real? Mysterio, the trickster Spider-Man villain, the guy whose superpower is he fakes everything. You're just instantly trusting him the moment he shows up to say this thing. But the more time went along and the more that like all the advertising just really leaned into this and how Marvel did not like break eye contact on that at all. Nope, alternate reality. We're doing that.
Like,
and there is a Spider-Verse on the Sony side. You know that's a thing. Yeah, the more that this went along, the more I did start to get that thought in the back of my head. I'm like, okay, what if that actually is a thing?
Here's the thing, is like, I thought Mysterio, like, basically Star Wars, the Elementals, which, were they an actual thing in the Spider
Sort
comics?
of, very small.
Spider-Man
What
comics?
it is that the Elementals, they've been Elemental villains. God, Peach, you were like on a mountain cliff on my knee there. There have been like Elemental villains in Marvel, but what these were meant to be, the two that he fights in here, the big water guy and the big like molten heat guy, he has a villain called Hydro Man and he has a villain called Molten Man. And there's a moment in here where they're reading conspiracy theories on what these creatures are, and someone went, well, this Navy guy got exposed to some kind of a chemical while he was in the war. Like, that's Hydro Man, is what they're explaining. So they basically took two very, like, C-class Spider-Man villains and came up with an excuse to use them in this elemental sense, which I am fine with because you do not need to have Hydro Man in they are C tier, they are low.
Yeah, like,
villains.
honestly, like, when, like, the ground, like, elemental came, I was like, is that Sandman or something?
It might be, actually. I didn't think about that, but that actually could be.
No, but, like, here's the thing, like, he mentions that, like, the elementals destroyed his Earth, so he came to this Earth, this parallel dimension, to like stop them from the same thing to happen. But I thought that he was using the elementals on his planet to take over, and now he went to the parallel dimension to take over that one.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not gonna spoil like the whole like parallel reality thing in here and what that ends up becoming until, of course, we get to the spoiler part in here. But it is one of those things where you are second guessing it throughout this entire film. Okay, is he? What? Wait, like, cause
that's the thing. Like, so much has happened in the Marvel movies that, like, honestly, anything can be real.
That is the great thing about what Marvel has built up here. Because, man, you look back at like Phase 1 and how small that was, and now it's at this point where, yeah, of course, there's a talking raccoon and talking tree who hang out with this guy over here. Of course, they exist in the same reality as Iron Man. Why wouldn't that be a thing? Yeah, they have set everything up so well that at this point, dude, anything can be anything. So I ain't guessing it, and there is a moment in here. This is a little. It's not really an Easter egg because anybody out there who's going to get this is going to instantly get it. But I will just go ahead and say, there is a moment in which he says, I come from my world. This is reality 616. And yeah, I had a little geek moment there because that is the actual Marvel reality. Like, I love that Marvel doesn't do the thing that DC does where our Earth is Earth Prime. Our Earth is the main Earth. Which makes sense. I mean, if you're going to follow any reality out there, of course it's going to be the first #1 main prime reality. That makes sense. But I always like that with Marvel. They're like, yeah, our reality ain't anything special. It's 616. It's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing unique out there. I love that they did come in here and just said Earth 616. Although he said this is like from Earth 84 or something. Man. Like I said, Marvel's got thousands of these realities. I do not remember any of the numbers, but I am wondering, okay, was that a thing? Anyway, I'm getting way too nerdy on this. But Mysterio in here, yeah, we mentioned he is going to become the villain in here. But he starts off as the good guy, and man, Jake Gyllenhaal is so goddamn charming as the good guy in here. I was watching him the whole time, and the reason why I was second guessing this thing is I was looking at him just going, oh, he's too nice.
I know, right?
I really, like, the relationship he has with Peter in here, man, is the relationship that Peter needs at this moment. Everybody out there throughout this entire movie is like, you're the next Iron Man. We need you to be the next Iron Man. You need to step up and start acting like the next Iron Man. 16-year-old kid. He's the one guy hopping in here and being like, hey man, you want to talk? Everything going cool with you? What do you want to do most with your life? Yeah, you like him in this. He is even kind of meant to be, I've said this before, but I kind of like that what they are doing with the Spider-Man films is it's constantly Peter in search of a father figure of sorts. Because first one was Iron Man. This one, the people at Marvel even said Nick Fury was meant to be like the mean stepdad. I didn't entirely get that feeling from it. There are those moments where you get, but it's more of Jake Gyllenhaal is the cool guy who's dating your mom, who comes in and is like, hey there, sport, how's it going? Listen, here's a popsicle stick. He's too young to actually be your dad, but he is kind of there. Maybe he's like the guy from the Big Brother another program that comes by to help you out. And that's kind of the feeling that I was getting from this. I
always felt like Nick Fury was like the estranged uncle or something.
Kind of, yeah. That also really works. I did kind of dig the interactions that they had in there. But the interactions that I dug the most in here really came from Spider-Man and his supporting cast. Mm-hmm. And it was while watching this film that I realized the main reason why Spider-Man Homecoming works as incredibly well as it does, because I've heard people argue that it just feels like a basic like teenage drama, something that you'd see on the CW kind of thing. Speaking of somebody who's tried to sit through some of the CW shows before just to say that I've given them a shot, this is so much better than those because the cast is so damn good.
Yes, like
these characters are great.
Like they feel like real actual teenagers, and that's
like tweaked just enough to be a joke, like just enough to be clever.
Yeah.
They feel real, but they feel better written than reality.
Yes.
Yeah, which is what you want for something like this. And this continues the trend that the first Spider-Man Homecoming film had, that this feels like a John Hughes film just as a superhero movie. That's the feeling they're going for, and I love that they were able to continue that feeling because, again, that was part of what made Homecoming so incredibly good. It was how well it captured that feeling of this is a really good high school drama. Just now we're bumping it ahead and, giving it some superpower action in there. They're able to continue that in here because this is all them going on vacation, and Ned...
It's like a summer class trip.
It is, yeah. It's like they're going for a science thing.
Yeah.
It's never fully explained, but it's the guy who's part of the science decathlon or whatever it was from the last one. He's the one leading this, as well as J.B. Smoove is there in this, who's basically just there to be J.B. Smoove, which is fine by me because anytime you can put him in something, I'm happy with that. But yeah, they're all on some big trip all across Europe, and the interactions that Peter has with all these characters, like when he is hooking up with Mary Jane, she's not Mary Jane, she's just MJ.
Just MJ.
Yeah, when he is hooking up with MJ in here, their chemistry is so damn good. I love the character of MJ in here. She is her own unique creation. She's nothing like she is in the comics, but
I really like that, though.
I have said that. I started this thing off by saying, if you're going to change it, still make it something good. Her character is good. That's totally fine. And I love her character and how just brutally honest and harsh and dark she is. But when she gets around Peter, she just becomes your regular, like, teenage, oh, hi, yeah, awkward moments here, okay, doesn't really know what to say. It's great getting to watch that these two can cause their defenses to come down like that, but she's still trying to hold on to being the hard and badass stuff. I absolutely love that. There are several scenes between the two of them that work so incredibly well. But the relationship that really got me going in this was Ned and Betty.
Yes.
They didn't show this in the trailers at all, but it happens quick. It happens so quick that I don't feel it's a spoiler. And I'm so glad that it happened because we mentioned this with Homecoming. Ned Leeds is nothing in here like he is in the comics. Instead, what he's like is Miles Morales' roommate, Genki. And you look at that and go, man, you just jacked Miles Morales' roommates. This really kind of stinks that you just came in here and just took Miles' best supporting character and made him Peter's best supporting character. Yeah, that's really a shame. But here's the thing. Ned Leeds doesn't really have a lot going for him in the comics. Ned Leeds' whole thing in the comics was, I married Betty Brant and I became the Hobgoblin. That was it. That was all that Ned really had going for him. In here, Ned hooks up with Betty Brant and I just went, oh, thank God you gave him something to make me go, all right, it's Ned, everybody. It's Ned. Okay. Woo. Okay, it's a little bit, all right, we can at least point to like some correlation between this and the comics. Yeah, they have this summer romance going on, and it is adorable to watch their interactions. Because Ned, he starts this thing going off, no, we're going to be two bachelors off in Europe. Come on, just you and me. We're going to be going, hooking up with all these girls in Europe. Before they even land in Europe, him and Betty are just, no, I love you more. I love you more. I love you the most.
It's amazing what a 9-hour flight sitting next to someone can do to you.
It is so, and it's believable. I can believe that two high school students could like hook up that quick. Like with that much of a shared interaction of being together on a plane for 9 hours. Yeah, I buy it. I love their little interactions. Because after that, Ned is just coming in there and is like, listen, as someone who is more experienced than you in the love department, dude, let me tell you this, I just absolutely love Ned's character throughout this entire thing. Ned is so incredibly good in this franchise. He was one of the best things about the last film, too. So yeah, all the characters in here are great. May gets a little bit more to do. I wish they gave her more to do in these films, but she has way more to do in this one than she had in the previous one, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, it's like now that she's like knows about her nephew's secret that he's Spider-Man, like she's becoming like the overly supportive mom, basically.
And I dig that. That is, again, that's the thing that did happen in the comics for a while, where Aunt May actually did know his secret identity, and they had to take that away because, of course, they have to always reset the comics back to 0 again. But she was so much better after that, because Aunt May had always been, oh, Peter, I'm old and frail, and I don't know if my heart can take learning a big, massive secret about anything. After she learned that her nephew was Spider-Man, she was helping him out. Like, she was writing angry letters to the Daily Bugle. How dare you say such nice things about that Spider-Man boy? I'm canceling my subscription. And all of a sudden, people at the Daily Bugle are like, she's getting other old people to cancel my subscription. Yeah, it was so good. And here, you know, of course, Marissa Tomei is way younger than Aunt May in the comics.
Yeah, she's like actual aunt instead of a great aunt or something like that.
Yeah, they always had to come in here and explain, like, well, she was older than Ben, and Ben was older than Richard. And yeah, she's like 20 years older than his parents were.
Whatever.
So yeah, she's really good in here for what we give her in here. But also, Happy.
Yes.
I will flat out say this. Happy Hogan is better in the Spider-Man films than he was in the Iron Man films. That is so weird to say, but he is great in this film.
It's because he actually is like a father figure, whereas like with...
Yeah, as I mentioned, this entire franchise is just Peter looking for a father figure. Happy, he doesn't get a lot of moments like that, but he is. I mentioned earlier that Jake Gyllenhaal is kind of like the cool guy dating your mom, and you're like, okay, maybe this guy's all right, and then you kind of learn, oh no, he's actually kind of a jerk. Happy is the actual guy dating your mom that's like, this guy's kind of a jerk. Actually, you know what? I guess I misjudged him, and he's actually okay. That's kind of what he is in this, and he is so good. Yeah, man, it's really stunning to me that one of Iron Man's biggest supporting characters is better in the Spider-Man films than he was in Iron Man. Yeah, their interactions are so good in this. But we haven't really gone even into that much of the story yet.
No.
We've been jumping all over the place, which is, typically, that's what we do either when we love the film or hate the film, and we didn't hate this film.
Well, I did bring up the elementals, so...
Yes. So basically what happened, real quick. Spider-Man, he is... we haven't even talked about this. But yeah, this is set after the blip, as they call it. Which is... That's what they call everybody coming back.
Yeah, after
I love that it's a
snap.
dumb name.
Yes.
I love that it's a dumb name that they're using for this, because you can understand something like that just being like, we'll fill that in later, and then that just becomes the thing. And I don't mean that in terms of like the writing room. I mean that in terms of like how news anchors would refer to this, and then it just spreads around. And it's like, well, I guess that's what we're calling it.
Oh, speaking of which, the Peter tingle instead of the spider sense, is that
okay?
Is that copywritten?
I don't know.
Spidey senses?
I wouldn't imagine it would be.
Because, like...
That would be the weirdest thing. We can use everything in Spider-Man except Venom and Spider Sense. What? What? No, that can't be. That has to be a joke. That has to be like them playing with the audience's expectations of, oh, Spider Sense, and then they never call it Spider Sense. But... I have said this so many times. Like how
they can't say Shazam's name or Captain Marvel's name.
That's legal reasons. That's a big legal deal.
Easy does it, Peach.
Yeah, you want to turn.
Yes, you're so excited.
But yeah, let me just go ahead and say that right now. I have said this so many times. It bugs me that none of the Spider-Man films have ever really talked about the fact that he has spider sense, because it's not an obvious thing.
Yeah.
Spider's, he's super strong. Jeez, buddy. Super strong, makes total sense. Crawls on walls, spins webs, makes total sense. Yeah, we got all that stuff. But spider sense, the most we have ever gotten was in the very first Sam Raimi film, very quickly while they were at the museum, and said, some spiders have an early warning system, or a spider sense. It's like, that's not really a thing, and you need to explain that way more.
Oof.
Jeez, buddy. You need to explain that way more. This is the most active you have ever been in one of our reviews. All right, calm down. But it's like, yeah, you need to go into way more details about that. And in Spider-Verse, they showed it, They showed it a lot, and they showed it brilliantly in that one because they used the art style to show it off a ton. But they never once mentioned it in there, and I just kept going, I know what you're doing, and it looks amazing, but I keep thinking about that audience member out there who has no idea what any of this is. You know, maybe give them a little bit of something. This is the first Spider-Man film in which they have ever come in here and go, yeah, I have this sixth sense. It's like an early warning system that tells me about things. Thank you. That's all I needed. Freaking finally. So, yeah, but let's talk about this. This is set after all the characters have come back. And, man, when they explained they're not undoing, like, the 5-year thing, I kept looking at this going, you basically just ruined all these remaining films, because how on earth are they going to adapt to that, especially Spider-Man? They come in here and they give you just enough explanations about it to make me go, oh, okay. Guess we can move on with our lives now. Yeah, they give me just enough explanation of everything in here that I don't really have a problem with it. I thought I was going to have tons of problems with it, but they did a decent job explaining it. They do some great jokes in there, showing the people, like, coming back. Like, they showed when the people disappeared, and then they show them arriving back at the exact same moment and just messing everything up because there's new stuff there. There's a joke that someone has of, yeah, man, now I got to take the whole class all over again, even though it's halfway through the year. My younger brother is now my older brother. What's up with that? Yeah, I love that. It's just like frustration that people have. I really enjoyed that, just the attitude that everyone had.
Like, I'm just imagining, like, everyone's ID. Like, there has to be, like, an asterisk next to it.
Yeah, that was the question I had.
Asterisk has been blipped, so it's actually 5 years younger.
They even do a joke with that in there, which is perfect, because you see, like, there's a moment here where Flash Thompson is trying to drink alcohol, and then MJ just goes, stewardess, he was blipped, so he's 16, not 21. But no. Flash Thompson is so good in here as well.
Yeah.
Which, it's weird. I feel like they could have not blipped him, because out of everybody in here, he's the one I look at as like, dude, you are out of college. Which I think he is the oldest of any of these actors. I think that he actually is in, like, his late 20s.
Well, maybe he, like, got left behind a few grades because he's an idiot.
No, they mention his age. They say he's 16. But he's, like, the one guy that I could look at as, like, yeah, I bought you in the last one. I don't buy you in this one. You're now an adult. Let's see. So they're all going on this big summer vacation across Europe.
Which I find weird that it's a science trip when it feels like it should be more like a history or like a geography or like a social.
Well, they were going to the Da Vinci Museum, but again.
Oh yeah, Da Vinci's like well known for like science.
History does make more sense. Yeah. History, art, anything like that. But it's it's an excuse to get him to Europe. It's
like Peter likes science, therefore it's a science trip.
Well, he is also part of like the science team. It makes sense. But yeah, they go to Europe. And when they arrive in Europe, they start getting attacked by these elementals, but this guy with a big fishbowl pops up with all these magical spells, calling himself Mysterio, and he's saving the day. Nick Fury brings him in and says, listen, Stark wanted you to have these, gives him these special glasses and a special note. You see the glasses in the trailer, and it basically says, listen, these are for the next Iron Man. In other words, they were meant specifically for you.
For Peter.
So
like, I don't know if
yeah, for Peter. So this whole thing basically becomes a story of Peter having the whole world expecting him to be the next Iron Man. Like there are reporters at home asking him, so are you the next Tony Stark?
Yeah, exactly.
Iron Man? He's seen memorials to Iron Man being put up everywhere. So yeah, it's a constant reminder to him, which I kind of love that they decide, well, we've talked about Uncle Ben too many times, but he has to have some dead father figure in there. He has to have somebody in there who gave him these life lessons and is now dead that he has to be haunted by. So he now has to help Nick Fury stop these elementals, which Mysterio says destroyed his world, and that eventually leads to some other stuff that we're not going to go into, but that's the basic setup of all of this. And I really enjoyed that they didn't stick them in just one location. It was an actual like European vacation, and they came up with excuses for why they had to be in each location, and every time that Peter was like, no, I'm not doing this. This is my summer vacation. You guys have this way more handled. I'm a 16-year-old kid. Which is something I kept looking at Nick Fury in this and constantly going, stop putting so much pressure on this stupid kid.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
I was thinking, dude, Nick Fury, you're supposed to be the guy who has all the plans, which there is a line there in which he says, I got blipped out, and now it's 5 years later, and I'm the guy who used to know everything. Now I know nothing. So there is a little bit of an understanding of why Nick Fury would be super stressed out and super desperate to, like, get the people he still knows to come in and help. But the post-credit scene actually explains it way more. The post-credit scene actually makes me go, that's why Nick Fury was acting so weird around Peter Parker. Okay, now. And we'll save that for the spoiler part, but there's 2 credit scenes. One mid-credit and one post-credit. The post one is mostly a joke, but has hints of larger things, but it also explains why you might be looking at Nick Fury like, why are you doing all this stuff, Nick Fury? The mid-credit scene is amazing.
Oh, yes.
The mid-credit scene is the best mid-credit scene they have had. I really can't think of any other one. And it is a cliffhanger. The mid-credit scene is a cliffhanger, and it is a cliffhanger that makes you look at it and go, can we cancel all the other Marvel films until this? Because I can't comprehend time passing between this and where the next Spider-Man film picks up. But we will get into that later. So we're talking about how good the cast is. We talk about Jake Gyllenhaal being so good as the heroic Mysterio, but he is a villain in this. He's great as the villain in this. He is great. I will get into more details about how good of a villain he is when we get into the spoiler stuff, because I have to explain to you the exact thing about Mysterio in here. But in the comics, Mysterio he's a showman. He was a guy who worked in special effects, got fired because his tech that he was creating, there's been like multiple retcons of this to explain different reasons why he got fired, but the most popular one is that basically he wasn't getting the credit he deserved, or they thought that his technology was a little bit too experimental and a little bit too dangerous. But yeah, there's many different reasons, but basically he is a big showman with an inflated ego. Again, not explaining what the particular take is they have on him in this, but he does, when he is a villain, he acts like a crazed director. You can feel like Jake Gyllenhaal is pulling from some personal experience he has had on film sets of watching people freak out. There are moments in which he is just shouting at people and going on about how great he is, that it feels like a big celebrity ego trip just gone to supervillain levels. Peter in here, really solid. All the supporting cast, really solid. We've talked about pretty much all the good stuff in here.
Yeah.
I did feel, and man, this one's partly on me. Because I have a curse with the Spider-Man films where apparently I can't hold my bladder in, because when we saw Homecoming, I had been holding it in, and then I finally got to the moment where he was going up to Liz's door, and I was like, okay, he's just going to pick her up for the date. Fine, I can finally go. And I left. And then I come back, and him and Vulture are in a car together with a speech going on about how he'll destroy Spider-Man. I just looked at that and went, what the hell did I miss? In this one, my problem I had with it was that this whole thing was, Peter, you're supposed to be the next Spider-Man. You're supposed to be the next Iron Man. The world needs Iron Man. I didn't really feel like there was much of a resolution in that. Like, they didn't really have that moment where he realized, I can't be Iron Man, I have to be Spider-Man, something like that. And then I came back, and after the movie, I said, so what happened during that scene? And went, oh, we just talked to Happy. And then I went, well, what are you saying? He went, oh, we basically talked about how he can't be the next Iron Man, he has to be the next Spider-Man, and Happy said all these things, and I just went, God damn. So I do have personally, I am looking at this and saying, yeah, I don't feel like you really gave that message across as well as you could have, but I missed the main time that they shot the movie to give that message.
Yes, you always go to the bathroom at the wrong time.
I thought I was fine. I thought, man, because I had been holding it in. Because right before this, there is a fight with him and Mysterio, and that is the best Mysterio scene you could possibly
Oh my god, yes. The effects were amazing.
It's one of the best superhero fights you've ever seen. And also, I just gotta say, Mysterio is just an amazing villain in this period. It is stunning to me that the Marvel films, their biggest problem was the villains were never really good. Man, Mysterio, Thanos, Killmonger, Hela, Vulture, even Ghost was pretty decent in that last Ant-Man and Wasp. Man, out of their last 6 villains, really one was just kind of decent and the rest have been great. They have turned around so hard on the villain thing. Anywho.
I kind of felt like the villains.
I forgot the Krees in Captain Marvel. They were kind of just, man.
Well, I kind of felt like the reason why villains were kind of weak at first was because they were still like developing the hero, so they kind of needed like throwaway villains, and they needed like something to build up to. I've
always said, listen, it'd be great if we got good heroes and good villains, but if I only had to choose one, I'd care way more if the protagonist was good. And the Marvel films, that's what made me overlook all the bad villains, is that I looked at and went, hey man, I'm not here for the villain, I'm here for the heroes. But now I get both of them, so I'm great. So I'm totally fine. But yeah, when you think about everything you could possibly want out of a Spider-Man Mysterio fight, holy crap, it gives you all of that and more. It was like Doctor Strange.
Yes, I was just thinking of that.
I would go even further than Doctor Strange, though, because they did so many different things during that. And we'll go into more of the details.
Like, I was almost thinking, like, Into the Spider-Verse, like, with all, like, the visual effects and everything.
I would even go higher than Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, Spider-Verse had a great...
animation?
Great animation and great art style throughout the entire thing. But if I had to go, okay, out of all these Marvel films and all the Spider-Man films, which one had the best, most jaw-dropping display of special effects, like one specific scene? This Mysterio scene, I think, might take that cake. I think might do it. I'm not going to say it's definitive. It's arguable. There are many other ones that you could argue beat it. But holy crap, just in terms of effects alone. And I would love to see just the storyboards of that whole sequence. I would be amazed watching it. I kind of want to buy the art book for this. But yeah, so the film, I think it's really good, but again, it's so hard for me to come in here and say, I do kind of wish, I know my feelings would be different if I had seen that scene. That scene was the exact thing that I was missing in this film. Man.
Like, do you want me to go into further detail over this scene?
No.
That's
spoiler part. That's spoiler part.
All right.
But you basically told me kind of like what happens in it.
Like the gist of it.
You told me the gist of it, yeah. So, score-wise, I would say I'm giving this an 8. Because maybe an 8.5. I'm going back and forth. I'm going to give it an 8. But I know that my opinion will change if I go back and watch this again, which I probably will just to see that Mysterio scene. But I'm giving this an 8. Really, really liked it. I thought it was a great film.
And what did you give the first Spider-Man Homecoming?
I think I might have given that a 9, but I think I gave that a 9 more just because I was like so impressed that, holy crap, it's been a while since we had a really good Spider-Man film. But also, I felt like that one got to the heart of who Spider-Man is a lot more. And I'm a big Spider-Man fan. This one got to the heart of, like, you can't be Iron Man, which that's another thing. The theme of this one, it's good for the Marvel Cinematic Universe overall. For Spider-Man specifically, it kind of felt like, he's the hero we need in there for that. But I didn't get the personal connection with Peter that I got in the previous one. And that did also kind of tap this down a little bit. Because in the first one, when I got the fun high school stuff in there, I also looked at it on an emotional level because it was helping to build this character up. And here, the fun high school stuff was fun high school stuff. Oh, that's cool. That's great. That's not negative in any way, shape, or form. But it in the first one, because it was helping to build up these characters, had a bigger impact on me. What about you?
I don't know. I really did enjoy this. So, like, maybe also like a 9 or an 8.5.
Right.
I don't remember what I gave the first one. I think I might have given the first one also a 9. It's like I really did enjoy both of them, and like for different reasons too.
Yeah. Yes, that's another thing that we should point out. Even though this has the same feel of the last Spider-Man film, it has the same like John Hughes high school style film. It is a different story with different style jokes, different type of threats, different story arc for everybody. So yeah, it does stand on its own moment. But again, I would also like to come in here and point out the main reason I'm giving this an 8 out of 10 and not anything higher is because I needed to see that scene that I ended up missing. But okay, going into spoiler time now.
Okay.
So there comes a moment in here in which Spider-Man, he gets these glasses that belong to Tony Stark, and he puts them on, and it's this program called Edith, which stands for Even Dead, I'm the Hero, which is great. But it gives him access to pretty much Stark tech.
Yes.
He has access to his satellites up above. He can hack into anybody's phones. And I was looking at that like, oh man, Peter Parker, you are trying to make him the next Iron Man right here. I don't know what you're going to do with him in the next film with this. But he is just overwhelmed by the pressure.
Oh, yeah.
So he's talking to Mysterio after they end up stopping the Molten Man, and Mysterio goes in there, and this was the moment in which I was 100% sold. Yeah, this is all a trick. It's the moment when he goes, I have to do what I should have done back home, and flies into the monster's chest and blows him out and goes, oh, we did it, Peter. He has the heroic sacrifice, but then comes back and he's still alive. That was the moment when she was like, all right, there's too much ham on this scene. I know what's up now. I get it. Like I said, I went into this thing going, okay, the alternate reality thing, I don't believe it. Him being a hero, I don't believe it. But I went from being like, there's a 5% chance of it being real to like 30% chance. I was like, okay, maybe this is, not saying for sure, but it could be real. And they got me buying into that enough. Mm-hmm. But there comes a moment in which they are sitting around and they're in this bar. Which people have pointed this out before, Peter is way too fast and loose with his secret identity. Mm-hmm. And I do agree with that, because there's a moment where he's sitting in this bar with his mask off. And granted, he's in another country. It is like a rundown dingy bar where you would buy that no one in there has a cell phone.
But like, he didn't have his spider suit on.
He didn't have a spider suit on.
He had like his, was it Night Monkey suit?
They called him Night Monkey, which is a good joke. It's a good joke. But he's in this bar with no mask on. He's having this conversation with Mysterio. Which the moment in which Jake Gyllenhaal decides to call himself Mysterio is so good, because again, it just has Jake Gyllenhaal's charm all over it. Oh, call me Mysterio. Oh God, I'm warming up to you, Mysterio. Oh, but he goes, you know what? He said these are for the next Iron Man. Maybe he didn't mean me. He meant that he trusted me to find the next Iron Man. And Mysterio's telling him, no, man, listen. He trusted this to you, and I'm trusting it to you. I hand this over to you. Okay, you got a deal. And then, now go out there, get that girl. And then he leaves, and then half the bar dissolves into holograms. We did it, everybody! And then everybody else in there, yeah, let's toast this. And the reveal of, it's not just like he's some special
effects guy. It's not just him, it's just like
his
entire crew.
It's a crew, which that's something I loved about this, because that's something I've always said about Mysterio. He can't operate all this stuff on his own. He has to have a help. Like, even if it's drones, he has to have helpers for that. I love that so many people who work on this. And he explains, yeah, you remember back in Civil War where Tony Stark invented this holographic thing that he was going to use for therapy, and he called it BARF? That was me. I made that. Not Tony Stark. I made that. And he called it BARF, and this is something that could revolutionize the world. And he decided that he was going to use it for therapy? Get the fuck out of here with that. Or you remember all the stuff that you suffered at the hands of Tony Stark? And then it cuts to that scene. Tony Stark built this with a box of scraps in a cave. The guy that, God, what was his name? Not Josh Brolin, but God, whatever. Obadiah Stane. The guy that Obadiah Stane was like yelling at and poking his finger into, that guy got fired by Tony Stark because he was part of like the weapons division. Now he's joined up with Quentin Beck, and he's pointing to all these other people. And you had this happening from Tony Stark.
Like, basically all the people that Tony Stark like stepped on to get to the top.
And I love that it's not the people they fucked over back when he was making weapons. Even after he became a hero, yeah, you look at how fast and loose and reckless Tony Stark is. It's like, of course he would have fucked people over.
Of course.
Yes, of course people got fucked over along the way. Of course Tony Stark didn't make all this stuff on his own. Nobody can make all this stuff on his own. Yeah, I love that basically the big twist of this with Mysterio, again, this is meant to be the epilogue to Endgame. So it is like half Spider-Man story, half an Iron Man story.
You know, it's kind of like how Iron Man 2 was like the prologue to Avengers.
Yeah, very much so, except that one they stopped the movie to basically be like, Avengers are coming, Avengers everybody, that Avengers is happening. This one, it was more like, Tony Stark is gone. This is the epilogue to Tony Stark's life. There's some loose strings here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. It made so much sense for this to be the big villain at the like epilogue to Endgame. Mm-hmm. That just made so much sense to me. So they have been trying, like, they found out all this information because it's like 20 people who worked in like surveillance and tech departments. Yeah, they tracked down like, where did the glasses go? Who handed this off? Where's Nick Fury right now? Let me get in touch with all these people. So eventually Spider-Man, he ends up discovering that Quentin Beck's been lying, that Mysterio's been lying.
Yeah, like basically one of the drones...
During the fight with Molten Man.
Yeah, during the fight with Molten Man, one of the drones that was creating the projection, like a piece of it fell off. And MJ was there.
Which it doesn't feel like that was just something they had to put in there so that happened. He has like dozens of drones making this,
yeah.
and Spider-Man is flipping all over the place. if he didn't end up hitting one of those, it would be shocking.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense that at one point, Spider-Man, he ended up whipping up one of the holographic projectors from the drones. MJ ended up finding it. Man, it's hard to not call her Mary Jane. MJ ends up finding it, and they're looking at, and this is during the scene that you saw in the trailers, which I hate they put this in the trailers, but it's the moment in which he goes, "There's something I gotta tell you. That you're Spider-Man?" Yeah, we all know. Which I love that after he finally comes out and goes, "Okay, yes, I am Spider-Man." Oh, I was like guessing. I was like 60% sure at most. I love that because I love that, again, it makes her so much more human when you see that big rough exterior of hers like crack down for a brief moment. But it ends up creating one of the holograms, and that's when he realizes, oh crap, this isn't real. And you see like all the stuff they're doing behind the scenes to set up all these holograms, and like Mysterio flying around, that's not actually him. He's standing there in like one of those mocap suits.
Yeah.
And his mocap suit, it has to actually also like capture like his facial expressions too. So he's got this big dome
Which
going on.
explains
the fishbowl.
The fishbowl.
It's brilliant. It is a brilliant explanation of why he has this big goofy fishbowl on his head. So they're looking at this and examining it, and yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal is just being a director at that moment. He is no longer the hero of this alternate reality. He is acting like Mysterio from the comics. He wants to direct. That's what he wants to do.
He wants to direct his own movie and star in it too.
Let me take that by 10%. And yeah, whenever somebody screws up something on set, he turns into like a Christian Bale level rant. No, we're not doing it. Just going off on everybody there. In that, like, I will be in my trailer kind of like, it's so good.
Except that he actually, like, threatens people's lives with drones because they can shoot people.
Yes.
Like, he finds out one of the drones was like,
he
broken.
finds one of them was tampered with.
Yes.
Yeah, that the holographic projector was gone, and he's able to track that down to Spider-Man. Yeah, it is, oh, God. It is so freaking good. Just like the way that they capture Mysterio in here. And Jake Gyllenhaal just nails that performance. This is actually one of my favorite Jake Gyllenhaal performances. So, this all leads into Jake Gyllenhaal has to capture him. And he's been trying to kill Nick Fury too because he knows that Nick Fury is the one guy who could really kind of stop them. So, he has to lure them to Nick Fury's secret base. He gets there. And then it's revealed, oh, that entire secret base, that ain't real. This is an illusion. And then Spider-Man is just trapped in this giant, huge illusion that is constantly shifting back and forth. And remember, it's not so much like the illusions in the original comics where they were just illusions. He's got drones in there that are firing at him as well, so he doesn't know what's real and what's not. So there's a moment where like the wall breaks down and giant Mysterio fist comes out and punches him, and Spider-Man, he goes flying. And what's great about this is, you have no idea when this illusion is over with. There are like 2 or 3 different fake outs during this fight where you think, Spider-Man, he's got him. Nope. Yeah, it's so incredibly good how they do this. And they get so damn creative with it. There was a moment where you see like a grave rising out of the ground. And for a brief moment, I thought it was going to be Uncle Ben, but then I was like, oh yeah, they still haven't talked about that. But I thought, is this how they're going to introduce this? Oh no, right. Other dead father figure. Right. And then they have zombie Iron Man come out and start crawling after him. God, you can imagine how traumatized Peter Parker is. And that's the thing that I kept saying made me like Tom Holland so much as Spider-Man in the first film. I doubled down on this one. He captures that feeling of being a teenager who is in way over his head. And you get that feeling he's probably like traumatized by all this stuff. Seeing like a dead Iron Man crawl at him, he is freaking out about this. And then there's a moment where it zooms in on his face and there are spiders crawling all over his face. Then it zooms in on the spider's face and it's got the 6 eyes in there, the 8 different eyes on there. Then each of the 8 eyes turn into Mysterio fishbowl heads. It just goes on.
And then it's just an army of Mysterios marching along and
it goes on and on so well. It's so good.
It's like a trippy music video, honestly.
Really, like, this is like if the people who made a Pink Floyd music video made a Spider-Man movie. This is what you would get. I was watching this going, this is everything I could have wanted from a Mysterio fight. They nailed this sequence. And again, it just goes on and on. There's the moment where he comes out of like where he falls out of the building. No, he doesn't follow the building. He's inside of Mysterio's head. It gets turned into a snow globe. He picks up the head and just shaking it. I want to see this in 3D. I really do want to see this in 3D just for that scene. But then all of a sudden you just hear a gunshot. And then everything stops and you see Mysterio's been shot. And it's by Nick Fury. Oh, yes, Nick Fury showed up. All right, kid. We gotta get to where everything is safe. Who else did you tell about this? Just MJ and Ned. And Ned might have told his girlfriend, Bay. Okay. Then Nick Fury turns into Mysterio and shoves him in front of a train. Man, it is so good. And then he winds up in the Netherlands. And that whole sequence of him being in the Netherlands, he wakes up in jail in the Netherlands. And the people there are like, you look like you were cold, so we gave you one of our shirts. I don't know what accent that was. That was a Netherlands accent. He goes, okay, thanks. So I'm just gonna go. Oh no, the guard, he's on the phone with his wife. They're having twins. Okay, uses spider strength to break the lock, walks out of there. The guard sees him walking out wearing like his...
Like the guard is wearing like the night monkey.
It's meant to be a Spider-Man noir style suit, but they had to come up with a new name for him at one moment because Ned and Betty were trapped and Ned was like, no, that's not Spider-Man, that's not Spider-Man. He's trying to keep his secret identity.
Yeah, like that's a European knockoff of Spider-Man.
What's his name? Night Monkey. So they start yelling, Night Monkey.
Night Monkey, help us!
Then you see like news reports after that. It's that blah, 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 Mysterio, Night Monkey. Blah, blah, blah. And then the guard's on the phone wearing the Night Monkey mask and he's talking on the phone. Yeah. Night Monkey. Yeah. That joke is so good. But he like leaves and he goes out there and he's like in this little marketplace. Can I use your cell phone? Well, of course you can, young man. Thanks, you're all so nice. Thank you. And then like the guy helps like him give directions of where to find him. But Happy shows up there, and this was the scene that I missed. Happy arrives. I got the moment where the plane is coming down, and went, cool. I can probably run to the bathroom and get back in time. And when I came back, Spider-Man like AC/DC was playing, and he was like, all right, adjust the web swingers like this and do this thing here. So you say during that moment. Was the moment where he had like the breakthrough moments?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You say that during that moment, he basically said, "I can't be Iron Man," and
Happy says, Tony couldn't even be Iron Man. He was an absolute mess. He second guessed himself on everything except who to give the glasses to.
That's pretty good.
Yes.
All right.
And so like since then, like he gave Peter access to Tony's
Edith.
Edith's not is Edith?
Oh no!
No,
oh,
not Edith's glasses.
Sorry, I thought I mixed up who you were talking about.
No. Happy like let Peter go into like Tony Stark's like files about Spider-Man, so he can like create his own suit and everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Happy was like, "You take care of the suit, I'll take care of the music," and he starts blasting Back in Black.
That's cool.
And it's just like you can see Happy looking at Peter working, and he's like, "You are Iron Man."
Nice.
It's just,
all right, that's cool.
Yeah. The best part is when the music plays, Peter's like, "Nice, I love Led Zeppelin."
I love that. That's a continuous thing that Peter does not understand anything made before he was born. So yeah, then he goes in and he has a big showdown with Mysterio.
And like he was able to like find where this class was because Flash keeps
That was a running gag that Flash was like, yo, what's up, Flash Mom? I'm here in Europe right now. Peter apparently, like, subscribes to him. So they were able to track him down using that, which
yes.
They brought a joke. Anytime you can take a joke that feels like just a throwaway gag and bring that back around for crucial plot points, I love that. That's like an easy way to win me over in a movie. So yeah, they were able to do that. They go in there. Mysterio had all the monsters merged together because he went, okay, I have to save the world from an Avengers-type threat to become the biggest hero in the world. So he goes in there, and I love that this was never about him being a hero, but the more he got into this, his ego just went out of control. Like, no, I am going to be the biggest hero. Never once actually thinking to himself what he would have to do if he actually had to go up against an Avengers-level threat.
Mm-hmm. Almost kind of remind me of like a Syndrome from Incredibles.
Oh, yeah. You very much get a Syndrome-style feeling from him in this. So he's going up against this big threat. Spider-Man swings in there, uses like an electric shock, takes out the whole hologram. And Mysterio, of course, he's far off from this. And Happy, I'm just describing to you the end of the film here. But again, Happy he was kind of a joke in the Iron Man ones. I love that here he's joking, but he's also confident because he calls up Nick Fury and he gives him like a little tip on like, hey, we're just clearing out Tony's old supplies. We found the boogie board. And we're like, we didn't know that Tony boogie board. And I said, no, it belonged to Nick Fury. And Nick Fury saying, what the hell are you talking about? No, it's not mine. Well, you never know because appearances can be deceiving. Never call this number again. And then he immediately closes the phone and just stares directly at where Mysterio is secretly hiding. Like he just somehow knew where he was going to be. Because he's Nick Fury. Makes sense. Or is he? We'll get to that in a second. So this all leads into a big fight, and it's one of those ticking time bomb kind of things where he has to stop this before this happens. And typically I hate the ticking time bomb things, but it's not an actual like ticking clock.
No.
It's more if he has to stop this before the drones kill his friends, and the drones are closing in on them. Okay, that's good. I'm fine with the we have to stop this before X kind of thing. I'm just sick and tired of the actual clock ticking down. We gotta stop this before it gets to the 1 second thing. I'm kind of done with that. But he goes into one last fight with Mysterio, and this is when he mentions the Peter tingle, because that's what his aunt called it.
Yeah.
Which I like that. I don't think it's that Spider-Sense is like, they can't say it. I think it's more of just, this is what the unhip aunt would say, trying to be cool, trying to be the good supportive aunt. Yeah, that sounds like something that an aunt would call it. So, yeah. He actually goes, come on, Peter Tingle, and closes his eyes. And he just goes in there, and it's just him in pure darkness, just punching at drones and taking them out.
Yeah, like he's using his sixth sense to try to, like, see through, like, the
He's letting the warning system tell him about
yes.
this. And Mysterio is warned before he starts firing. Edith even says, you're too close to the blast radius of this. Fire them all, I don't care. So there is a moment where Peter takes one of them out, it spins around and ends up shooting Mysterio. So again, you look at that and go, all right, the villain knows the secret identity. The villain had to be taken out some way. But at the end of this, he's talking to Mysterio, saying it's all over, and Mysterio, he's doing the whole villain. No, please, no, you can do this. And there is a great moment that I love, where in the middle of the conversation, Peter quickly ducks his head, moves his hand up, and you just hear a gunfire. And then the actual Mysterio appears right next to him. That is such a good, like, last Mysterio jab from Hell's Heart, I stab at thee kind of thing. It's so good. I love that. And Mysterio ends up dying.
Yeah, and, like, to make sure that was actually him, like, Peter put on the Edith glasses to, like, see through the illusions, make sure he was real.
Yeah, and Peter uses the Edith glasses to tell the machines, cancel the program. Are you sure you want to? Yes, execute them all. Which was his exact phrasing. And I went, that's weird phrasing. They had it phrased like that on purpose. This then cuts to, they're back home, everything's fine, Ant-Man happy, don't know whether or not they're in a relationship or not, which was a fun thing to end on. He swings around with Mary Jane, which was a very sweet thing. And
I like how Mary Jane was actually, like, terrified.
I like that.
Of being swung around New York, because I honestly feel like that's way more realistic reaction than being, wow, look how beautiful
I thought
everything
it was
is up
a
here.
very realistic reaction. I like that. Anytime that you make these characters feel real, it's wonderful to me. And yeah, that was a great realistic reaction. Especially another great realistic reaction was the moment where MJ, Ned, Happy, Betty, and Flash all thought they were going to die, so they all start yelling out the things that they're ashamed of. I love that. I love that scene so much. Also, there's something, I want to know what's going on with Flash. Because there was a moment where Peter is using the glasses for the first time, and he can see what everyone is texting. And Flash is texting, hey mom, I still haven't heard from you in da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I didn't get to read the rest of it. That's all I was able to read of it before they quickly cut the scene off. There's a lot of stuff in here that you're gonna have to freeze frame on.
Yeah, and then when he, like, gets home at the airport, like, his butler is there, it's like, oh, mom couldn't make it, and so it's like, what is going on?
It's weird that they just put that scene in there for no reason.
So, like, I'm wondering if they're gonna get, like, more backstory on him in, like, the next Spider-Man.
Because, spoiler alert, in the comics, Flash Thompson and Peter Parker ended up actually becoming friends eventually. They actually became very close friends. And Flash ended up becoming Venom. But the heroic Venom. He left school to go and join the army. He left college to go and join the army because he was inspired by Spider-Man to go and try and be a better person, to go and be a hero. He came back from the army and he was missing his legs. But the government had recently captured Venom and gotten the symbiote off him and went, we could actually use this to create our own super soldier, and Flash Thompson signed up for it. And I'm looking at this going, you're setting up a lot of stuff going on with Flash here. And I can see Marvel saying, we want to have a Venom, but you kind of screwed us already by making your... You just had to go ahead and make your Eddie Brock Venom. So, yeah, and there's a moment in here where Flash is saying, yeah, I like Spider-Man. He inspires me to be a better person. And then there's the great moment where he looks at Peter immediately and says, what up, dickwad? Yeah, I'm looking at Flash going, they're giving him some backstory, and they're stopping the movie to let us know he's got something going on. So I'm wondering. But this leads into the mid-credit scene.
Yes.
The mid-credit scene, Peter Parker lands, he drops off Mary Jane and goes, I'm just gonna walk home and we're never gonna do that again. Okay. And he's at, oh God, what was it? He's at the, fuck, I don't know sports. I'm sorry, everyone. I should know this because I live in New York. I should know what this place is. But he's at Madison Square Garden. Yes, that's not a sporting event place. He's at Madison Square Garden where he drops her off. And then all of a sudden the news comes on, which this is something I love. The news anchor who came on is Pat, whatever his name is. He's the actual guy on New York 1 News. I do kind of like whenever that guy pops up in a film. He is the easiest guy to play 5 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Because he's in so many movies that you don't even
And he's always playing the news reporter.
He plays himself. Yeah.
Yes.
I kind of like that they just do that for some reason. But he comes on and goes, shocking news coming out today as leaked footage has now been released to the public showing the masked hero's Mysterio's final moments. And it's Mysterio going, you have to help me. Spider-Man, he went crazy. He shot me. He's taking control of all these drones and they're going to attack the city. No. And it's very clear Mysterio put all this stuff together, which this is a thing. After Mysterio died, you saw the people Mysterio had been working with and they upload some footage onto a hard drive, take it out, and they leave. And I went, okay, that's going to be something for the next film. That's something that they're setting up for like Spider-Man 3. Because all these people still know Spider-Man's secret identity. It wasn't just Quentin Beck. It was everyone he was working with. So all these people have, like, all Mysterio's tech, and they know his identity. Something's going to come. You can tell that's what they were doing. They had, like, a contingency plan in place. Like, one final show from Mysterio. And it shows Mysterio dying there. And Peter says, yes, execute them all. And they take that clip, and then they just put in there some sound of the drones firing off. And this footage was uncovered by website The Daily Bugle. And then it cuts to J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. My jaw dropped at that moment.
Like, he's the perfect actor for that role. It's like, I can't imagine anyone else doing it.
There are other people who could be good. No one will be better. There are other people I could look at and go, yeah, they would do a great J. Jonah Jameson. No one would be better than him. So this is like that one character that I can overlook and be like, yeah, bring him back. Just bring him back from the old ones. And they made him bald in this version. He's still got the mustache, but he's bald in this version. He doesn't have the flat top hair. I'm okay with that because it does make him just, like, visibly different from the previous version.
I just thought he got older. I don't know. It's like
it's still just the same. It's still the same guy from the previous one. Just like that last Spider-Man we had. Who was also Peter Parker. Yeah, they come in there, and I went, okay, yeah, this makes sense, because Spider-Man, threat or menace, you know, that's the whole thing. The Daily Bugle tried to turn people against him. Half the city hates him, half the city trusts him. They're setting that up right now. Makes total sense. A perfect set for the next one. But that doesn't compare to the final bit. They come in here and go, but there was one other piece of information. And then it cuts back to Mysterio and goes, one last thing, Peter Parker. I'm sorry. It was one last thing. Spider-Man, he is. And then it cuts off. I went, okay. Whew. I thought they were actually going to say. Then it cuts right back. Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Peter Parker, high school student, 16-year-old, has been revealed to be Spider-Man. And then it just cuts to Spider-Man. What the fuck? And then it immediately cuts to credits. I could not believe that's where this ended.
Wow.
You keep hearing, man, still to this freaking day, I still hear people going, yeah, the Marvel films, they're too safe, and they don't take chances. Dude, we're way past that. Listen, if you want to argue that in Phase 1 and Phase 2, fine. From Phase 3 on, they have been taking insane chances. In fact, in all honesty, the idea of a cinematic universe is a huge chance. So yeah, they've been taking chances from day one, but I can understand you look at some of them and it's like, all right, maybe they're playing it a little bit too safe. Since Phase 3, they have been taking huge risk on these things. Man, This is one of the biggest shakeups I could have imagined. And man, you look at that, and I just...
It's like, what's going to happen in the next Spider-Man movie?
And the thing that gets me is that I thought, okay, so we're going to, like, next Spider-Man movie is going to be set, 3 years later, because all these things actually follow a timeline. So we're going to cut back to Peter Parker, and he's just been living with the whole world knowing he's Spider-Man for 3 years. But then I had to stop and think and go, no, the entire world just saw footage of him, like, sending drones to execute people. He's going to have cops at his front door as soon as he gets home.
Like, he's going to be on the run now.
He's going to be on the run. Yeah, you have to start the next film. Hey, Peach, want a handshake? Yes. You're going to have to start the next film at immediately where this one ends. I have no idea how you could start this 3 years later or whatever it is. That would make no sense at all. But maybe they will. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm thinking about where they could take this, and honestly, as far as villains go, man, at this point, I say screw it and go all in. Have it be the Jackal in the next one, because the Jackal, his whole thing was he cloned Spider-Man. He created the Clone Saga, which is one of the most hated storylines in all of comics, but man, you can easily adapt that into being something better. And I'm thinking the only way that he can really fix this is to have Spider-Man and Peter Parker in the same place at the same time. Clones, it could actually work out. So yeah, I'd be intrigued to see what they can do, because as I said, they just did Mysterio better than I thought you could possibly do him. And they did Vulture in the last one better than I thought that they could possibly do him. Yeah, man, take a huge risk and go Jackal in the next one. Go nuts on this one. Yeah, I have no idea what they could do in the next one. Oh, man. Peter Parker would have to go to trial. That's how you get Matt Murdock. That's how you get Daredevil into the cinematic universe. Oh, my goodness. Oh, God, the possibilities are... My head is... I literally, like, for half an hour after we left the theater, was like, I have no... That is one of the best goddamn cliffhangers I have ever seen in a movie. Like, period, flat out. It is so damn good. Post-credit scene, though, it's Nick Fury as Maria Hill driving away in their car in total silence. Then Maria Hill turns into a Skrull, and she goes, you're going to have to tell him. Then Nick Fury turns into that Skrull that was working with Captain Marvel in the Captain Marvel film. Still sounds like he's got cotton balls in his mouth.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know why that is. I don't know why all the other, like, heavy makeup characters in their cinematic universe sound just fine, but he sounds like he's got cotton balls in his mouth. Maybe that's just him. Maybe that's just the actor. I don't know. But he goes, no, it went fine. It went fine. You gotta call him. Hey, Nick, yeah, we gave the glasses like you wanted. Everything went fine. Then things went a little off the rails. And that's the moment that made me look and go, why on earth are you trusting a 16-year-old kid to do all this stuff? Why are you... Nick Fury, this sounds like a crazy plan. Because it was a Skrull going, what would Nick Fury do in this case? Listen, I can't call up Nick Fury. He's going to be mad at me if I tell him there's an alternate reality, like worlds colliding kind of thing. I got to get this thing resolved on my own. It actually makes a ton of sense. Mm-hmm. It makes a ton of sense after you realize, oh yeah, it's this guy who really kind of wanted to go, what would Nick Fury do? Not that. But then it shows everything from Nick Fury, the real Nick Fury's point of view, and it looks like he's on a beach somewhere, and he just hangs up the phone. Then he sits up in his chair, stands up, stretches out, which there was a line real quick in there, something about, yeah, people are wondering when the Avengers are going to come back. It's something like that. It's not quite like that. And I thought he was going to stand up, and I got the feeling it was a fake hologram. I got the feeling it was a hologram and not real. But I thought he was going to turn around and he was going to be back in the Avengers base, like being rebuilt or something. And you would see like some of the other Avengers in there to let us know, okay, this is the current Avengers roster that we're getting. You know, maybe see Falcon in there as Captain America and like debut the Captain America suit in there. Which I knew that wasn't coming because there was a news story that came out that said, oh yeah, in the original script they did see Sam Wilson as Captain America in there. So I knew it wasn't going to be that, but I thought, okay, we're going to get like a hint of who the new Avengers are. Like, show us one character that's on the roster. Maybe slowly start building up the new roster over these other films. No, he walks out, and it is a hologram. He is on some massive space station, and you see other Skrulls in the background all working on stuff. And he starts walking around going, all right, time to get back to work. And yeah, he's in deep space somewhere. Mm-hmm. Which lets you know, okay, this wasn't here for a joke. It wasn't here for a joke. But it also lets you know, okay, Nick, what are you doing?
Like, do you think he's out they're recruiting new Avengers?
Or exploring like a bigger threat or something, which by the way, there's a great thing in there where, yeah, the Skrulls, Captain Marvel helped the Skrulls find homes for the past like 20 years after she was out doing. There was a moment in here where Spider-Man is going, why do you call me? Why not call Thor? He's off-world. Doctor Strange, unavailable. Captain Marvel, don't speak her name. Now you know he was a Skrull. He was like, you're not worthy to say her, like, she did too, don't you bring her name.
She's got more important things to do. Like.
Yeah, that was now you know he's a Skrull, that makes that line so good in here. But yeah, it makes you look at that and go, what are you doing out in space, man? I'm honestly saying they got the Fantastic Four back. Fantastic Four, they were out on a space station, got exposed to cosmic rays. This could be a little bit of a hint of that.
You think they're going to rescue them from space? And
maybe rescuing them from space, or maybe they're studying Galactus, the big guy who the Fantastic Four always have to stop. Something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe something. I'm getting a Fantastic Four sense coming from this. But yeah, that was it. That was our very long discussion about Spider-Man Far From Home. It's a very good movie, very good. I got more of an emotional impact out of the first film, and again, my score is being tapped down a little bit. In fact, I missed the one scene I needed to see.
Yeah, it's like, that's the thing. It's like the first one was small but emotional. This one is big and exciting.
Yes.
So, like I said, they're both very good, but on different ways.
Different styles of movies.
Different styles.
But still have a similar feel.
Yes.
You still get the same feel from these characters. But okay, yes, man, that is one of the best cliffhangers I have ever seen in a movie. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in this weekend. This was the big movie coming out this weekend, but we will have a Stranger Things Season 3 discussion, because we're going to binge the crap out of that tomorrow. Thank you guys very much for tuning in, and come back next time. Bye.
Bye.